Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for being here. The boss, I'm grateful.
Very
Thank
excited.
you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Today is 11th June 2019. Exactly 2 years ago, we came out like this. I gathered my friends, my family members, and I was able to boldly tell the world what I wanted to do. What has always been in my mind, I decided to launch this online television, Passion TV Nigeria. I'm grateful that 2 years down the line, we did not fold up. And I've enjoyed tremendous support from people. I decided to bring the one person that has been the loudest, the most inspirational since I began this journey 2 years ago. I asked him to join the program, to just come sit with me and tell me what inspires him and tell him what moves him to do the things he does. He is the president, Bush House Nigeria, the writer of Talking Nonsense on the Sun News Online. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone watching this, please put your hands together as we welcome Akparawa Michael Bush. Maybe I should say it like he does. Who knows? Akparawa Michael Bush. You were doing it. May I have a handshake with you, sir?
Absolutely. So nice to be here. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
On your second anniversary. You know, I'm so proud of you. And well, I didn't know about the anniversary being 11th of June, because if I had known, then perhaps I would have doubled the support that I give to you, the support that I give to everything that you do. Because incidentally, 11th of June is when my only child, Winnie, was born.
Oh, wow.
And, just today, shortly before this, we were on live telephone together. She's currently in London, and we're just back and forth together. I didn't remember, but I'll say that probably before we round up the program, if you remind me, on behalf of Winnie, I'd love to make a donation to Passion TV, just with a view to making sure that when you are doing your third anniversary, perhaps you should have your own camera.
Okay, so it means she can watch this. We're online.
Yeah, absolutely, and she
Did you come with a cake?
Will love it. Cake. She doesn't do cake. She's in London. She can take care of her own cakes. And
please, everyone, come this way. Let's sing for Winnie.
Okay, that'll be nice.
Please,
that'll be nice.
This is going online, so she will have the opportunity to.
Can we stand?
Yes, we will stand. Please, guys, adjust in celebration of Winnie Bush. The father will take just 60 seconds and propose a toast to the young woman in London.
Yeah, I wish I had 60 minutes to actually do this. We need somebody I'm very proud of, and it's therefore my privilege to take a toast in her honor to say that may she have long life, may she have many more opportunities than she's had, and may she generally just come back to the country and continue to inspire others in Jesus' name.
Amen. So let's do happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Let's do that one more time now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, Winnie. Winnie, that was for you. Happy birthday to you wherever you are. Just know that from all of us in Passion TV Nigeria, it is happy birthday to you.
She turned 22 today. Very excited. Very soon I'm going to be father-in-law.
Father-in-law. Please, guys, return to your seats. Thank you. So you can't wait to get the list,
I can't
right?
wait. Yeah, sure.
To give somebody the list.
As a matter of fact, I asked her today. Yeah, I asked her today when she's bringing a guy home. And I'm looking forward to it,
She's 22.
Meaning?
That's even
Others
great.
did it at 17.
When did you do yours?
At 30.
Ah.
32.
You see those things that fathers used to do? When I was your age, I used to take first position.
No,
in
I've never
class.
told her that because I don't believe in taking first.
Okay.
I don't believe in just taking first. Yes, take first, but also make sure you can take first in school. But also make sure you can take first in the streets. Because if you don't take first in the streets, the way this country is wired, you don't know what they will demand of you. That's why whoever took first in school, who has ever led this country, will you know? You know, so you see that, you know, they may not necessarily demand just academic excellence, educational excellence. They could demand also excellence about the streets.
So there are people who make A's in school and then they come out to the real life and make F9s.
Of course, yeah, that's what. See now, just look at the side. Whoever made, where are all the people who made A's? Where are they? They're not even making the kind of money that the people who made F9s are making politically.
You know, that reminds me, those with first class end up being ruled by those in the third class.
Yes, I
because
think-
those in the third class have a way of making it to the top, that they struggle with everything.
I think it was Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka who said that. You know, and then those who were even supposed to be dropouts end up somewhere else prophesying, and some of us are kneeling down for them. You know, so it's a terrible cycle. No, it's not a laughing matter.
Do you see that changing anytime soon?
No,
I mean,
not
what
the way
happened
Nigeria
at
is
the
going.
national?
Not the way Nigeria is going. Not the way Nigeria is going. And don't be deceived. You know, you can do all the church you want to do. You can do all the prayers you want to do. If you're not as smart as you're going to do, you're going to die and go to hell in this country because of the way the country is wired. No, it's just there. You can see it. You can see it. The country is in trouble, and the time has come for all of us to stand up. The state is in trouble. That's why you find a governor who is struggling to, to stand up against all those things that he used to have. And I don't know. We pray that he can succeed.
Well, punchy opinions coming to you today. Thank you. Allow me to please welcome Mr. I.D. James.
Yes.
Thank you
Pastor
so
I.D.
much.
James.
Pastor I.D. James. I'm so
Any
sorry.
way you find me, you can be sure you would come.
Really?
If
I didn't know
if
you were
follows
the
me
magic
around.
one.
No, he just wants to get me off the stage so that I can take over. He said the
Pastor I.D.,
Adiakpa-
please come over this
It's
way.
the Adiakpa one. No,
Adiakpa.
Adiakpa.
What? Adiakpa.
You don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
Ask him. Adiakpa.
Pastor I.D. James. Adiakpa.
No, it's not.
You did not even say it well.
No, of course I got it. He's trying to confuse you. Adiakpa means that when I continue to live, when I die after 150 years, he can take over from there. That's what it means.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
So, Adiakpa, of course, that's what
Is that the meaning of Adiakpa?
Of course.
Pastor I.D. James.
No.
Pastor I.D.
Adiakpa.
What is Adiakpa?
No, Adiakpa
The boss,
means
you
you
wait.
eat and die. You know.
No, Adiakpa is hair.
No, it's not. It's not. Adiakpa.
Please confirm from the cradle of
Dr. Demenanda is in the house to please. What is the meaning of this Adiakpa or Adiakpa?
It's someone who inherits what you have lost
Sure.
when you die.
Gentlemen, you're welcome. Thank you very much. So let's begin like this. Thanks once again for
It's an honor for you to have me. I don't know why you would choose me during your second anniversary, but clearly it's an honor. That's why I had to push myself. I had to package myself here. I'm just coming from live radio, 2 hours on radio. And normally what I do, the moment I come out, I try to shut down, try to do other things to get back the virtue that would have gone out of me. But I just started, and I'm thankful to our mentor and leader, Dr. Demenanda, for coming here with me, and then all the members of the 20 Christians Club, through the leader, the DG, and even my brother Solomon Essien, and even Pastor I.D. James just calling me on the phone, and I said this is where I was going to be an Essien, and some members of the Bush House Nigeria team. I'm just excited, that
You command a lot of loyalty. How do you do that? How
Yeah.
much do you pay them?
that's
Guys, I'm listening so I can
absolutely.
get it.
That's an excellent question. I think that I don't pay anybody for loyalty because I think that I just get that because I'm a very loyal person. Dr. Demenanda is here. I've been loyal to him like all my life. There's not. He's sitting here. All he needs to do is call me. No, Doctor is here. I'm not looking at him so that you know that it's not story.
Doctor, won't you confirm something?
Yes, of course. There is Mr. Eddie Ekpenyong. All he needs to do, Until Mr. Depenyong had a wife and then raised children who grew up with him and all of that. I used to go to his house, even as Michael Bush, to wash his plates and clothes. You can ask him. Do you understand? So I've sown so much loyalty and respect and honor. So if you see me reaping them, don't be envious.
No, I won't be. Do you find loyal people in Akwa Ibom State? You came back from Abuja 2016, is that correct?
No, 2019.
2019.
That one I was start seeing. I was trying to see what I would come back. But 2019 is the year that I landed. Yeah, it's true. I was start seeing, truly.
Why
truly.
would you say that?
Yes, because at some point I almost went back.
At what point? What happened?
This is a horribly wonderful state and a wonderfully horrible state, where people take others for granted too much. People insult people, especially people who hold power. They insult people so easily. The same people you think that, oh, this is my leader. This is my leader. They disrespect you fundamentally. Do you understand? They disrespect you sometimes by not picking your phone call, or by just treating you poorly, or by giving you your word and then breaking it. So it's not the kind of side, it's not the kind of people that sometimes want to look up to. So if you're not very strong-willed, chances are you could either fall into depression, or sometimes even, I hear people go down there to kill themselves and all of that, or just generally want to give up. But I'm too strong for that by the grace of God, and I'm too runnish. I'm an run man. You don't discourage me. If you discourage me on the ground, I hit the sky flying, and then you can't stop me.
Congratulations, meanwhile.
On
we just had this the Speaker of the 7th Assembly in Akwa Ibom State.
I don't know why people are congratulating me on the fact that the Speaker is a run man. Okay, thank you.
He's
a great
brother.
man. No, apart from even being my brother, the Right Honourable Anekan, Anekan Bassi is a gift. I can tell you, he's quite humble, and I don't say that because he's Speaker. There are other speakers who ask me, I would even reject the congratulations. But this one is a very humble person. He's a fantastic human being.
So what kind of 7th Assembly do you look forward to having with
the kind of assembly that the people want to have? I see that we have a very funny set of people in our state. We want, but we don't want. We cannot eat, we cannot have a cake and eat it. We must be able to stand up and demand the right. Just now, Dr. Devenanda joining me on live radio talks about the kind of society we have. We have lost our voice. He talked about, I'm trying to remember the expression, the conspiracy of silence, where people have lost
the conspiracy of silence?
Yes, we find it. In this state, for instance, Governor Odom Gabriel Emmanuel, and I say this with all honor to him, is interested in fixing the society, but then he himself, in fixing that thing, in wanting to fix society, makes a mistake. He expects the people to stand up and say, oh, Your Excellency, there's a little mistake here. But no, they don't. They don't. They either keep quiet or they applaud him. Oh, Your Excellency, that thing is very fine. They wait until he leaves office and they say, how could he have made this kind of mistake? That's conspiracy of silence.
Did that not happen in the Akwa Ibom years?
No, that's what we're saying. It's always been the way of life in Akwa Ibom.
But those people are trying to survive. Those walking around.
That is the point. Why should you survive by doing nonsense? Why do you need to survive by doing nonsense? If something is not right, it's not right. Whether you're going to survive or not.
Maybe it's a matter of perspective. It could be 6 before you, me, and the 9 before you. So maybe what we think is a mistake to those people is just actually a beautiful monument.
Well, 5 will always be 5. 6 will always be 6. Do you understand? You may think that 6 is 9, but it's because of your own perspective, not that the position of the 6. You have to depend on the 6. If you want to stand with 6, 6 will always be 6. But it's when we want to now turn to make 6 9, that's where you have the problems. See, nobody's going to go hungry if we all do the right things. Do you understand? You only would go hungry when you do the wrong things. There's a bird in the Bible talks about raven. There's a bird called raven. Raven is supposed to be the greediest of birds. But then he was feeding somebody. Was that Elijah? Was feeding Elijah even when Elijah had committed some blunders himself.
Oh, yeah?
Do you understand? So people should just get used to the idea. Do the do the correct thing. Even if they judge you wrongly, they judge you harshly, they don't give it to you, they will still come.
Will we ever get to such a point? We're in a
We have
society
people
that
who are
has
doing
to,
that. We have people who are doing that,
I
thankfully.
think psychologists define a society as a place with the good, the bad, the ugly. All of this just makes a society. So
Yeah.
it's kind of utopian if you think we'll ever get to the point where people are all doing good.
I like the way you said it, and it's true. But let me say that that's all right. I for instance, I want to be, even if I'm the only one, I want to be the right guy. I want to be the Udom guy. I want to be the correct guy. I want to keep to the right lane, to the Udom lane.
The Udom guy, you mean the governor?
Not in the sense of the governor, of course. Not in the sense of the
Okay,
governor.
at this point, I want to understand. Let's see your own perspective. The first 4 years of Governor Udom Emmanuel just finished. How
Yes.
would you assess him?
I'm a wrong person to ask that because I have my entire life. If you've seen what we've done the last 1 year, I've thrown almost my entire life into supporting him. So if I come here, the perspective I'm going to do will be positive, and that's not the kind of thing that I think you need. I'm too biased to answer that question.
I think I just need the truth from
No,
you.
yeah, I'm on his side. Yes, it may not be 100%, but I tell you, he's done incredibly well.
Okay.
But unfortunately, again, I don't want to expatiate on that answer because I don't want to say something people are saying, well, what else would he have said?
Why are you being economical with the truth right now?
Somebody got fired for saying that, so, so you gotta be careful.
Okay. But let's say you're doing this and you want him to listen to you. Let's say somewhere somebody could show him on the phone there is this program and
Yes.
the bush is talking. Okay, what would you tell him as he begins the next term?
Yeah, there are small little things this governor did that really impressed me, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Number one, there's no way I would have supported him. You remember in 2015, in the build-up to 2015, I was an Omana person. As a matter of fact, yes. As a matter of fact, I went to every length to make sure there was no Governor Udom Emmanuel.
Wow.
Do you understand? I did prayers. There's nothing I didn't do. I mobilized people. Do you understand?
Why?
Because I didn't like him.
Why didn't you like him?
I didn't even know him. Do you
Okay, so
understand?
you didn't know him and you didn't just like him.
I was supporting Mr. Manu Kurumana. Do you understand? I was there with Mr. Manu Kurumana all the way. But that's not even the stuff. The stuff is that this same man, 3 years into his administration, finds me worthy to be appointed onto the board of something I think is the closest to my heart, primary health care.
Primary health care.
I never talked with him. I never lobbied him. I never told him. I'm sure he just opened the books or talked with somebody and saw pictures of Bush's hospitals. When I used to go to hospital and just said, oh, this man. And just like that, without calling me to ask me, never asked me. The only person who talked with me about that thing was the SSG. And then I was given that opportunity. But that wasn't even...
Wouldn't you have preferred to be in communication? Something like the Commissioner for Information or something. You've been a communicator almost all your life.
Unfortunately, I don't know when you're going to be governor. Perhaps when you become governor, you make those appointments. If I'll still be available, I'll tell you when I'll set them. Yeah, so that's if I don't become governor.
Now that sounds like it's going to take a very long time.
Oh, so
okay.
So when you make when you qualify, can ask some of those things. But once election has happened, I see the foolishness in our state, in our country. Election has been decided. Somebody is governor, somebody is local government chairman, somebody is president, and you still hold on to the wrong end of the stick, insisting no, he's not governor, he's not chairman, he's not president, and then 4 years are up. Do you understand? I won't be part of that kind of stuff. The moment elections, and it happened even when I was running my own election. The moment people were chosen ahead of me, I called them up, I supported them, I campaigned for them. So it didn't change. In 2015, the moment he became governor, and thankfully he became a good governor. That's the point I'd like to make.
Okay.
By 2016, 2017, I think he was a former boss, and they always say a boss, the Right Honorable Itoro Kolumba invited me to an event in Idakunto, and I went there. The first lady was supposed to be there. The first point of attraction for me, because that kind of leadership had always been absent from our state, was the fact that this first lady came early. And this event was for the poor people, was for the masses.
Oh, yeah.
Not only came early, she sat through from start to finish of that event.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? And then something happened. She was so mild. She was so meek. She handled them well, treated everybody well. Then somebody said something. One of the youngsters said something. She exploded. She woke up, and so I could not believe it. The same woman had been so meek. Then the next time she had to be firm, she was so firm. She woke up and said, "No, I don't want that. I wouldn't take that." That really impressed me. Then suddenly, the time came for her to want to leave the ceremony. When the ceremony had ended and she was almost one of the last persons to leave the hall, she took her, I watched her, I'm a journalist, so I just sat there in the crowd watching. I wanted to see whether things have changed in our state. A state is one where the leader of the state, so-called leader, would now go to see a traditional ruler who is the father of the land. Those are the real fathers of the land. And they will handshake them with the left hand. And then when they get to the northern part of the country, or sometimes to the southwestern part of the country, they will kneel down. They will bow. In fact, they will go on all fours to greet those people. So I wanted to watch what this first lady would do. So she wakes up. I saw that the paramount ruler was still sitting with some chiefs from the area. She took out something from her bag. Normally, what she would have done was the PR for the. She wanted to give it to. She had a gift for the traditional rulers. What she would have done was just to hand it over to one of her aides.
What did she do?
She didn't do that. She broke away from the line trying to take her out of the hall and went to the paramount ruler of Ikona, I should think, and knelt down.
Wow, the first lady.
I could not be for the life of me. As a matter of fact, that is the day I became born again and insisted that and decided that I was going to support the Udom administration. No, I'm not joking.
Oh,
I'm not,
so the wife bought you over?
Yes, she's the one. Well, she will never know this, but that's what happened. That's when, and after I said, oh, things have changed fundamentally in my state.
Wow.
And then I came and then got the opportunity of also meeting the governor and seeing the peace he had brought, seeing the godliness he had returned to power and all of that. I just generally felt that this was home and the time to come back had come.
Wow, thank you so very much.
Yeah.
But then we're still on the part where you were supposed to let us hear what you would tell His Excellency the Governor about how he should do some things as he begins a new journey.
No, that's not my brief. I don't do that. As a matter of fact,
haven't you noticed something wrong in our society?
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to that. And trust me, I shoot from the hips. I don't do, anything you garbage in, trust that I'm going to garbage out. Anything you ask me, I'm going to answer that well. Are there things I think this governor would do better? Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to talk to the governor because I have access to the governor.
Oh, you have access to the governor?
Of course I have access, yes.
Oh, yeah. I remember that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I asked you on live TV.
Yes, I remember, and I remember what I said.
What did you say?
I'm not friends with the governor. That's the mistake you made. You said, oh, you are friends with the governor. No, I'm not friends with the governor. I'm not friends.
Call the governor.
Well, everybody can call the governor.
I cannot call the governor.
Why not? Passion TV CEO.
Don't you have the governor's number?
No, that's what I'm telling you now. Why not? Why not?
But sincerely, okay. There's been a lot of criticisms online.
About what?
Oh, Jesus Christ! About this government. Really? Are you not online?
I'm offline, for 3 months.
That reminds me. Why did you take that kind of decision?
Well, I go offline once every year to clean up my head and to keep sanity.
WhatsApp, Facebook, it's all dirt?
Oh, no, it can make you insane. See, no, you need to know my life, my social media life. It's crazy. It's crazy, I know. You wake up in the morning and there are hundreds of messages waiting for you, and then you have to. Before I finish that, I'm really late for some appointments. So now I don't have to bother about that. And then I go to bed late because this answer, this one, So I just need to take out time to rest my head, and then my eyes too were hurting because of too much focus on the phone.
Would you like to say something to young people regarding their use of the social media? While we are on the subject matter,
you cannot use the social media the way you are using it and think that you're going to grow into somebody responsible. You cannot. The way we use it, are you even chatting with, or you are talking with a youngster, and then you are sitting with people in your family, you have no relationship with them, but you think you have a relationship with the world. It's deceit. It's very deceitful. You are wasting your time. So focus first. Everything you do on the social media is a lie. You see people, they paint their faces when they are women, they paint their whatever when they are men, and then they put those pictures out, and they look so great. But down there, they don't look that great. So who are you lying to? Do you understand? There's too much falsehood on the social media.
outside.
Yes, on the outside. And youngsters, and that's what has affected everything. People go to school, they are not doing good grades, but they want to pretend and that will change our value systems. We believe that big houses, big cars is what we need. No, it's not, surely.
Let's talk about Bush House, Nigeria.
Yeah, sure.
So you came back from Abuja. What even happened at Abuja? I have been wanting to ask you because I know you left town.
Yeah, I left town in 2009, so it's 10 years. I'm back.
10 good years.
Yeah, sure. I just think that my time in Abuja were wasted years. The 10 years that I wasted in Abuja, the 10 years that I had in Abuja, wasted totally.
Why? What was the experience like?
Not the kind of experience that you think you want to have. I think that I've answered this. I think you were the one that asked me, or it's on radio. I'm an Akwa Ibom person. I'm quite interested in fixing Akwa Ibom before fixing Nigeria. I believe that when we fix Akwa Ibom, we fix Nigeria well. But if you fix Nigeria, the way Nigeria is structured today, we leave Akwa Ibom behind. Do you understand?
Okay.
You catch that. So I wish that I'd been here these 10 years. I would have perhaps doubled the number of young persons we produced over time. That's why
Are you trying to discourage me? I mean, do you know the number of brands that have left Akwa Ibom? I mean, I'm also thinking of doing that because we compete too much here.
Yeah, try. No, we don't compete. It's because you are interested in the competition. See,
how can you be in a particular sector and you're not interested in the competition in that sector?
The kind of support I have given you, are you my competitor? Are you not my competitor?
No, I am not your competitor.
Why do you say that? That's what everyone says. People think that you are, we're Passion TV, why are we supporting them? Bush House Nigeria, they're media people. Look, nobody's my competitor. What I can do in the media, you can't do, and what you can do, that I can do. I even think that we should be complementing each other. We should be working together. We should look at areas of partnership so that we can do great things. And never focus on the people who you think are opponents. They may not be opponents. They may not even be competitors. They could just try to measure up. That's what they're trying to do. They want to measure up. They want to feel among. So why give them that, why do you allow them feel as if they're right? They're not right. Stay on your corner and stay on my own lane.
I just remembered some conversation we had sometime in 2017, me and you.
Oh, excellent.
When I was asking you to help us reach the Commissioner for Works for an interview.
Sure.
And you asked if I wanted to speak with the former governor, and I said yes. You removed your phone and called him and you spoke with him. How is your relationship with him now?
Who is that former governor?
Former Governor Akpabio.
That's an excellent question. Senator Akpabio and I are supposed to be... yes, we're supposed to be... the best of people together, but I don't know, perhaps it was unfair to me. Perhaps I did not also take enough advantage of what he did, because I want to be I want to be seen as being fair to him. I don't think that this is even the right time to answer this question. I think that this man is down now. I should respect him. Yes, he's down now. I can tell you that he's down now. I think I should respect him. I
want to understand.
No, just excuse me. Let me land with this. I think we should just allow him to, when he gets back up, you ask me this question, I'll answer. But let me tell you. He may have been quite unfair to me, but he offered me so many opportunities. I want it on record. He offered me commissionership in 2008, December 23rd, 2008.
And we heard you turned it down.
Of course. And then he offered me liaison officer for Abuja to represent the Akwa Ibom State government in Abuja, big position, represent the governor in Abuja in 2012. And that was through Big Brother, Nepal, and of course, I said no. Yeah, so he tried.
Okay, so I just want to know, does his movement, in quotes, from the PDP to the APC, does that have anything to do with why you are not friends with him at the moment?
The moment he became governor, I was not really friends with him anymore. I was friends with him when he was the Honorable Commissioner. He was really supportive of the Bush House Nigeria brand, but the moment he became governor, he became something else really, and all of that. His movement to the APC.
Movement,
yes,
I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, whatever. It's cross-constitution. That's what it's called. That's the word. Cross-constitution. When he cross-constituted.
From what word?
Yes, you can guess it. So when he cross-constituted. So when he cross-constituted,
please, what if they ask together for him on that?
Yeah. So when he cross-constituted, I want him to know he led millions of people down. He betrayed so many people, and I don't know how he would ever recover from that.
Well, we'll look forward to a time like that. But meanwhile, let's see what Bush House Nigeria has in store for tribal people in the next 2 years.
I'm off Bush House Nigeria, so you know that I'm currently on the board of Akwa Ibom State Primary Healthcare, so I can't answer questions on Bush House Nigeria.
Who can answer questions?
The consultant, of course. We have consultant who is
Consultee, we are coming for you. The DG.
The 20 questions.
20 questions.
Yes,
DG.
can only answer questions as they relate to.
What is about the 20 questions community?
Okay, I'll come to that in a moment, but let me just say that Consultant is doing a fantastic job. I think he's even doing better than I did or than I could do and all of that. The 20 questions community is another, it's a third of my mentoring platforms. You know, my life has always been about mentoring, about encouraging youngsters, inspiring youngsters.
I attended the meetings. We used to have up to 100 young people come together, and you would bring resource person to inspire
we'll start that in a moment. So I was trying to, you know, the decision to settle down fully New York distracted me a great deal. We'll restart that. So the 20 questions community is another of our mentoring platforms. There is Bush House Fan Club International. There is the League 130, right? And then there is the 20 questions community. Those are the platforms that I use to try to turn boys to men.
And girls don't have a part there?
Oh, good. You know, when I say boys to men, I'm talking about women, girls to women, you know, of course.
Why didn't you just say girls or something like that?
It will be too long and unsweet.
Just use us. I mean, you know, let's feel like we come first.
But when you go there, no, of course, when you go there, you see the great number of women.
I have never asked you this question.
Please do.
About femininity. What do you think? The feminine gender, with all its complexities. How is your wife, meanwhile?
Oh, she's fantastic.
We saw her at Modu and
yes, Mrs. Nekarin Bush is fantastic. I consider her a gift, and she's been very supportive. You know, between the years 2014 and 2017, I went through the worst turbulence of my life, financial turbulence. You know, and if she didn't take a salary, if she hadn't been paid a salary, I wouldn't eat. Nobody knew that, but she was there for me, even as an Igbo woman. You know, we have all sorts of misconceptions that Igbo people they like money. No, but this is the truth. She was there for me. She even treated me better then than she would treat me when there's money and all of that. And I'm very grateful to her. Thank her for the support, and she's very understanding. In spite of all that they tell her, she's still by my side 25 hours every day.
Thank God for that. Because I have this problem with you.
Yeah, sure.
So why do you use too much big words, big grammar?
No, I don't use big grammar. You
could have just said you were broke in 2014 to 2017.
I wasn't broke. I've never used the word broke. I've never been broke.
Which one is financial turbulence?
No. Financial turbulence.
That's how I would want to read talking nonsense. I have to carry a dictionary and sit by it.
I'm so sorry about that. People complain about that. I'm so sorry. It's not intentional. It's just that, you know, it's the same thing. You know, no, listen to this. You know, I don't quote people. I don't like quoting. If you read everything I've written, I have never quoted anybody. But perhaps today I should just break that law and give you one. Les Brown, an American motivational speaker. He's the one that said it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Something else that I needed to just say now that he said yes, he has never prayed to be rich. He has never prayed to be rich. All his prayer is, Lord, make me comfortable. But then he realizes that to be comfortable, you have to be rich. So it's the same thing. I've never prayed to write big words.
Comfortability, very related.
Do you understand? I've never prayed to write big words. I just pray to write well, and then people learn from that.
Well done, sir. So why did you choose to christen that page Talking Nonsense?
Yeah, because that's the only way you can get Nigerians to read it. If you come here and you wrote something like, please don't read, they say, hey, who is he that's telling me not to read? They will read it. But if you wrote, please read, they say, who is he to order me? They will read it. You know. So if I wrote talking sense, they say, who is he to think that it's talking sense? So we said talking nonsense, and then they'll be interested in reading nonsense. You know, all these people, they are nonsense.
So what's the latest in talking nonsense?
Yeah, we do. Oh, that's a great question. We're doing what if challenge. You know, one day I just woke. Yes, what if? One day I just woke up from sleep. You know, my head is
There's a lot inside it.
Yes, I was going to say it's a motor park of ideas. You know,
You don't like motor park.
I do. Why not? People took
Wouldn't you
night bus.
prefer
I
an
took one
ocean
myself.
of ideas, an ocean of some sort?
Ocean. Atlantic Ocean. You got to be careful with the ocean. Motor park of ideas.
Okay. So what about what if?
Yes, what if? So I woke up one day and decided to ask some questions. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? What if, for instance, you sitting here in your other life, you were a tree, or when you come back, you'll be a stone? How are you treating trees? How are you treating a stone?
I don't understand.
Yeah, sure. So I asked all sorts of questions. You know, what if the father, the mother you are clapping for, they're not your real parents? What if you were stolen or swapped? Do you understand? When you were born. So I asked all those questions.
What if you were a woman?
Aha! What if I was?
What if you were the
More
governor?
fluid.
Would you let me sit with you like this?
Of course. You know, I would even be on radio, live radio every day.
I know you love it.
Yeah, sure. So and I had youngsters, you know, come on it and descended on it and turned it into something else. One wrote, what if this oxygen we are so proud of, we are all very fond of, is slow poison? That is just a matter of time. After many years, it just kills you. So many of them wrote things and I began to wonder. So I decided that I was going to run that as a series. I've done 3 yet. It's just 2 more and then I round it off.
And that reminds me, I have a game that you have to play. Are you ready?
Game?
Yes.
I don't do games.
Well, this one is not just play. There's a lot to learn from it.
I don't want to learn.
Then you would be dead.
No, I can't be dead.
They say we die when we stop learning.
No, leave that one. Let me even tell you, if you want to talk about if you want to talk about death, let me even blow your mind.
Oh.
Do you know why broadcasters die faster?
Do they?
I think.
No.
This man is superstition. Let me tell you. Not well. Leave broadcasters out of it. People
I'm
who talk-
one, and
people-
I'm not
no,
willing to die
people who
anytime
talk-
soon.
People who talk too much die faster. Let me tell you. When God creates you, let me tell you. I think you know I'm an Oran man. I'm very superstitious.
you remind
I'm very
me.
superstitious. I grew up in a fishing port in Cameroon. I'm very superstitious. I'm telling you. One of the superstitions is that when God is creating you, or when God created you, He allocates a number of words to you. So as you speak and speak and speak, when you finish speaking your word, you die.
There is a film like that.
Oh, there is. I've never seen it. I've never
The
seen it.
man had just 1,000 more words to say.
Oh.
And when he was told, he didn't believe it.
So I don't want to play
So
the
he kept
game.
talking. Is that where you were
Yeah,
going
part
to
of
with
it
this?
because I try to. People don't know. I'm just talking now because you're interviewing me. When we get into a group and everyone is talking nonsense, they're wasting their words. I don't say a word. They say, the guy's so quiet. I'm not quiet. I'm just saving some words so that I can have more
I
life.
said that you do not have enough words to say. God, I just feel like keeping quiet right now.
It's true.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't call it a game. Now, do you know that the younger generation, now the small kids that are just born, that very few of them can speak our mother tongue?
Yeah, sure.
Can speak using
Yes.
our own language.
Yeah, I know that, but you know, I don't do anything with children.
Okay.
I am scared stiff of children.
Why?
They can
They are
demystify
pretty-
you like this. Just this morning, Dr. Deman and I were discussing his last child. I think that's a Dimek. And, you know, we're trying to compare, and he was telling me how brilliant. I said, he didn't need to say it. He told me that if that child drills me, I said, where will he even see me to drill me? Do you understand? Even when Winnie was a kid, I never did homeworks with her because I don't want the child to go and say, this is my father that they said has brains, could not even answer this question. And then I'm finished for the rest of my life, you know. So, you know, and that's something parents don't know.
Okay.
You understand? Some parents want to prove. I don't prove anything with children because they can demystify, they can finish you like this. And then for the rest of their lives, they just say, Daddy, baby.
So now we know what the boss is scared of.
No, surely. And I mean it, truly. I don't compete with children, I don't play, and I just try to keep my lane, you know. See, if you are stupid and you keep short, nobody's going to know you are stupid. But the moment you open your mouth, the whole world is going to know and they don't need any further proof. You know, so that's why I try to be careful, and especially with children, because they will never forget. And they will tell their friends.
Okay.